The monastery lay hidden deep within the misty mountains. Ancient stones, worn smooth by centuries, glistened under the soft drizzle. Monk Aaron walked slowly, his robes brushing against the cold, damp earth. Every step echoed like a whisper through the empty corridors. The air smelled of moss and wet stone. A distant bell rang, faint but insistent, vibrating through his chest. He shivered, not from the cold, but from an unexplainable tension. Last night, he had a dream. It was vivid and disturbing. A shadowed figure moved silently among broken statues. Its eyes glowed, reflecting a light that was not there. It whispered secrets that made his heart pound. Aaron could not shake the feeling that the dream was not just a vision. It was a warning, a pull deep into the heart of the ancient temple. He remembered the stone steps, worn by countless pilgrims. They seemed endless, each one heavier than the last. He reached the inner chamber. The walls were covered with faded murals. Images of monks, deities, and rituals stared back at him. The air grew warmer, almost suffocating. A faint humming sound filled the room, rising and falling like the breathing of the building itself. Aaron noticed a strange symbol on the floor. It pulsed slightly, as if it were alive. He knelt, feeling a chill run down his spine. The dream came back in fragments. The shadowed figure pointing toward this very symbol. A sudden coldness enveloped the room. Candles flickered, though no breeze moved. The murals seemed to shift, faces twisting in silent agony. A voice whispered his name, soft yet commanding. It came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Aaron's hands trembled as he traced the symbol with his fingers. The stone beneath was unusually warm. A hidden passage revealed itself, a slit in the wall. He peered inside, the darkness deeper than night. It smelled of earth, decay, and something older, something forbidden. He stepped forward, his heart hammering. The floor shifted slightly, and the humming grew louder, almost a roar. Inside the narrow corridor, shadows danced with a life of their own. A faint light flickered ahead, strange and golden. Then he saw it, a figure crouched in the corner, features obscured. It moved with unnatural speed, sliding along the wall like liquid shadow. Aaron froze, his breath catching in his throat. The figure raised a hand, pointing directly at him. Its eyes were not human, glowing with a mixture of sorrow and fury. The walls seemed to close in. A sudden gust of wind, though the chamber had no openings, swept through. The air tasted metallic, thick with the weight of centuries. Aaron felt as though time itself slowed. Every sound became amplified, the drip of water, the scratching of unseen claws, the whisper of 1,000 voices. He understood now that the dream was not a warning, but an invitation. The figure moved closer, its form shifting, twisting. The symbol on the floor glowed brighter. Aaron felt his mind pull toward it, irresistibly. A terror unlike any he had known filled him, a mixture of awe and dread. And then the figure vanished. The chamber fell silent, yet the air still thrummed with unseen energy. Aaron stepped back, sweat running down his face. He felt eyes upon him from every shadow. The walls no longer seemed solid. They breathed, expanded, and contracted like the chest of a living being. He realized the temple was hiding something. Something alive, something ancient. And the secret of the monk's dream was not a vision of what had been, but a glimpse of what was waiting. Aaron's pulse raced. He could feel it, the presence behind the symbols, behind the shadows. It knew he was there. It was watching. Aaron's legs trembled as he took another step into the chamber. The air pressed against him, heavy and almost liquid in its density. Every heartbeat echoed, pounding against his ribs like the rhythm of a giant drum. He could feel the walls closing in, yet the corridor ahead seemed endless, stretching into darkness deeper than night. The golden light flickered again, dancing along the edges of the shadows. It was not steady, as if alive, breathing in and out with its own pulse. Aaron could hear the whispering more clearly now, fragmented words he could not understand, yet every syllable dug into his mind like cold needles. He raised his hand, trembling, and reached toward the light. As his fingers brushed the stone floor, a sharp pain shot up his arm. The symbols carved into the ground glowed brighter, blindingly so, and the walls around him began to hum in a low, vibrating tone. The sound penetrated his bones, resonating deep within his chest, threatening to shatter him from the inside. A figure emerged from the golden light. It was humanoid but distorted, with limbs that twisted unnaturally. Its head was shrouded in a hood, yet he could see the outline of eyes that shone like molten gold. Aaron's breath caught in his throat, his knees weakening under the weight of sheer terror. The figure spoke, its voice like a chorus of echoes, each word layering over the other in impossible harmony. "You have come," it said, though its mouth never moved. "You have seen what should remain unseen." The temperature in the chamber dropped suddenly, frost forming on Aaron's robes. A metallic tang filled his mouth, and he felt bile rise in his throat. The walls now appeared alive, their stone faces twisting and shifting, mouths opening in silent screams. The air vibrated with the energy of countless trapped souls, each one writhing in eternal torment. Aaron's mind raced, trying to comprehend what he was seeing. The figure stepped closer, and with every step, the golden light spread like fire across the chamber, illuminating the murals in stark, horrifying clarity. The deities and monks in the frescoes were no longer static images. They moved, struggling against invisible bonds, eyes wide with panic. Some reached out to him, silent cries for salvation, while others twisted in unnatural contortions, consumed by their own suffering. "You seek knowledge," the figure said, its voice now a whisper inside Aaron's skull. "But knowledge comes at a cost." The ground beneath him trembled. Dust and small stones fell from the ceiling as the chamber seemed to shift and sway like a living organism. Aaron's vision blurred, colors melting and bleeding into one another. Shapes moved at the corner of his eyes, fleeting glimpses of forms he could not identify. A sense of vertigo overtook him, and he had to hold the walls to stay upright. Then, the figure raised a hand, pointing directly at Aaron. In an instant, the golden light exploded outward, engulfing him completely. The walls vanished, and he was suspended in a void of pure sensation. He could hear whispers in hundreds of languages, see visions of distant lands, feel emotions not his own. Fear, sorrow, rage, and despair crashed over him like waves, each one sharper than the last. A memory that was not his own surged in his mind. A monk, centuries before, walking the same halls. He had dared to see what should remain hidden and vanished without a trace. Aaron understood now the fate awaiting him. The dream, the temple, the symbols, they were a cycle. A lure for those brave or foolish enough to seek the truth. The figure spoke again. "Do you understand what you have awakened?" Aaron shook his head, tears streaming down his face. "I do not," he whispered, his voice swallowed by the void. The golden figure extended its arm, and Aaron felt himself lifted, suspended above the stone floor that now reappeared beneath him. The murals stretched and twisted, revealing a hidden layer. Beneath the paint, carvings of skeletal forms intertwined with serpents and shadows appeared. Eyes, hundreds of them, stared at him, some human, some animal, some neither. They glowed with a malevolent awareness, watching, judging, waiting. A low growl resonated from the walls, vibrating through the temple. The air became thick, almost tangible, as if it were closing around his chest. Aaron gasped, struggling for breath. His mind reeled with the images, the monks of old, the shadows, the figure, the visions of torment. A voice, his own, seemed to answer from within. "Leave," it said, trembling. "Run while you can." He tried to move, but his body felt frozen, trapped in invisible chains. The figure bent closer, and Aaron saw its eyes, golden and endless, staring into his very soul. A sense of despair unlike anything he had ever known consumed him. He understood now that the temple was alive. It watched, it remembered, it punished. And he had trespassed. Suddenly, the chains broke. Aaron stumbled backward, collapsing to the cold stone floor. The golden figure receded, melting into the shadows. The air stilled, the temperature returned to normal, and the whispers faded. Yet the feeling of being watched remained, heavy and inescapable. He got to his feet, heart hammering, legs weak. The passage that had appeared earlier closed silently, as if it had never existed. The chamber was once again still and silent, save for the distant drip of water. The murals returned to their faded, lifeless forms. The symbols on the floor were dull, inert, hiding the energy that had just surged. Aaron did not dare speak. He did not dare move. He simply stood, staring at the empty chamber, knowing he had seen what no mortal was meant to see. The dream, the warning, the temple, they were all connected. He realized he would never be the same. The secret was now a part of him, etched into his mind, impossible to forget. He stepped toward the exit, each movement cautious. The whispers of the temple followed him, soft, indistinct, haunting. Even as he emerged into the misty mountain air, the weight of what he had seen clung to him. The ancient temple had claimed a piece of his soul. And somewhere, deep within its hidden corridors, the golden figure waited. Watching, patient, knowing that one day, another seeker would arrive. Another soul would be drawn into its endless, shadowed web. Aaron looked back once, and for a fleeting moment, he thought he saw a faint glow in the window of the inner chamber. He swallowed hard, gripping the hilt of his staff. He did not speak. He did not look again. The secret of the ancient temple remained, silent yet alive, waiting for the next dreamer. Aaron walked slowly down the mountain path, each step heavy with exhaustion and awe. The mist wrapped around him like a cold blanket, yet it felt strangely comforting after the oppressive presence of the temple. He could still feel the weight of the golden figure's gaze, buried deep within his mind. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it the faint scent of wet stone and moss from the temple. For a moment, it almost felt like the mountain itself was breathing, exhaling a sigh of relief. Aaron paused and looked back toward the peak, shrouded in clouds, hidden once again from sight. The ancient temple had vanished behind layers of mist and shadow, its secrets concealed as if nothing had occurred. He realized that the temple's secret was not meant to be unraveled by force or curiosity. It was meant to test patience, courage, and the boundaries of the human mind. The visions, the shadows, the whispers, they were lessons and warnings intertwined. He felt a strange calm settle within him, a sense of having touched something far greater than himself. Days passed, and Aaron returned to his monastery, carrying no physical proof of what he had seen. Yet his demeanor changed subtly. He moved with quiet caution, his gaze lingering on corners and shadows, as if expecting the unseen to follow him. The villagers noticed a deep serenity, tempered by an unspoken fear, in his eyes. At night, when the monastery was silent, Aaron sometimes dreamt again of the temple. The golden figure appeared, not threatening this time, but watching silently. It seemed to acknowledge his survival, as if granting him permission to live with the knowledge he had gained. The whispers were gentler, guiding rather than commanding. He understood that the temple's secret would remain eternal, hidden from the world, yet alive in those who dared to witness it. Some mysteries were not meant to be solved. Some knowledge came with the price of solitude and reverence. Aaron knelt before the monastery altar, closing his eyes. He whispered a prayer for the souls trapped within the temple, for the courage to carry the memory, and for the wisdom to respect what lay beyond mortal understanding. The air was still, yet it seemed to hum faintly in response, as if the temple itself had heard. And somewhere, far away in the mountains, the ancient temple waited quietly, patient and eternal. Its shadows shifted softly behind stone walls, and the golden figure lingered in the darkness, watching, waiting, knowing that time would eventually draw another seeker to its doors. Aaron opened his eyes and smiled faintly. He had survived. He had learned, and he would carry the secret of the ancient temple with him, not as a burden, but as a reminder of the fine line between curiosity and reverence. The mountain was silent now, but the story of what the monk had seen would linger in whispers, in dreams, in the quiet corners of the human imagination. Some secrets were meant to be glimpsed, not conquered. And the ancient temple remained, timeless and unknowable, a shadowed guardian of mysteries beyond comprehension.